Pleasant day to all. We are here today to discover the beauty of Philippines' greatest film. But before that, we need to know first what is film. The film, or also called movie, motion picture, or moving picture, is a visual art form used to simulate experiences that communicate ideas, stories, perceptions, feelings, beauty, or atmosphere through the use of moving images. These images are generally accompanied by sound and more rarely other sensory stimulations. The word cinema, short for cinematography, is often used to refer to filmmaking and the film industry, and to the art form that is the result of it, so that I can say film is the mirror of life and reality, reflecting the soul and spirit of particular country and its people. But why people make film? People make film to make profit, inform, and entertain people. I can say that all film must should be native and universal. They always embody universal truth depicted in manner and style. To be universal, Filipino films must first be Filipino in heart and spirit. And films help to promote a more inclusive and imaginative society so that film in the Philippines define how to be a Filipino. But what is the technology people used in the past to make Philippines' greatest film? The greatest scientist, Thomas Alva Edison, did not only invent the light bulb and further develop the telephone and photograph. He was responsible for bringing into film stage an equipment that captured movements and offered as proactive system that moved films into the camera. This camera is called kinetograph, which was invented near the beginning of 1890s. Edison then invented the kinetoscope viewer, which is innovative and amazing progression of the film images captured by kinetograph, which ran up just a minute long. The Lumiere Brothers, Louis and August, unveiled their inventions, called cinematograph, the invented machine used for mass viewing of films, waving the name cinema to describe theaters. The films reached the Philippines almost 2 years after the Paris Film Exhibition. For important highlight of the film in the Philippines, let's hear from the other members.
The film industry in the Philippines started in 1897, early years of the Philippine Cinema. Films were first shown in the Philippine Islands in 1897, during the revolt against Spain, when two Swiss businessmen sponsored the opening of Cinematographo in Manila. From this, the cine became slang for the movies.
The film became popular in 1912 when foreigners Edward Ross and Harry Brown produced the film about the life of Jose Nepomoceno. There are two American entrepreneurs who made a film in 1912 about Jose Rizal's execution, named Edward Ross, who is the director, and Harry Brown as the producer. In 1912, New York and Hollywood film companies started to establish their own agencies in Manila to distribute films. This led to the making of the first Filipino film, La Vida de Jose Rizal, or The Life of Jose Rizal. It was the first film that is produced in the Philippines. It was released on August 23, 1912, and the genre of it is historical. They made a film about the execution of Jose Rizal and aroused a strong curiosity among Filipino moviegoers. The film is distributed by the Salina Photoplay Company.
Jose Nepomoceno was a Filipino movie producer and director, acknowledged as the father of Philippine movies. He married Isabel Acuña. They had 8 children, among whom are child actors Ruben and Angelito Nepomoceno and Luis Nepomoceno, who became a film director. He was born to Jose Nepomoceno and Teofila Ziancita. He graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree from San Beda College. He took up electrical engineering at the Ateneo de Manila and finished a course in fine arts at the University of the Philippines. He became an accredited correspondent for Pat News and Paramount News of Hollywood. He acquired experience in his career by making documentaries, newsreels on various local topics. He also made English and Spanish subtitles for films which were then imported from Europe. He was a photographer and proprietor of his photo studio, Electro Photo Studio, or Helio, which became the biggest and most expensive in the country. He later sold it and founded Malayan Movies in 1917. After 2 years of experimentation and training, he made Dalagang Bukid in 1990. It was the first Filipino-produced feature film.
In 1930s, Hollywood enjoyed a popular following in the Japanese film market, accounting for almost 90% of imported sound films. Against a backdrop of emerging political tension and war in China, the Japanese government announced in 1937 that it would place a ban on Hollywood film. Import this was a move that ushered in a new era of protectionism for Japan's emerging film industry. Following the decision, Hollywood Studio engaged with Tokyo and sought an agreement to ease the new restriction. After a period of intense decision, the Japanese government agreed to lift the ban, albeit with certain conditions.
Movie production resumed after the war, and 4 film studios became prominent and considered the Big Four. These are LBN, Sampaguita, Lebran, and Premiere.
Award-giving bodies like Filipino Academy of Movie Arts and Sciences and Maria Clara Awards were instituted to appreciate outstanding performances. Filipino Academy of Movie Arts and Sciences, also known as FAMAS, are the annual honors given by the Filipino Academy of Movie Arts and Sciences, an organization composed of prize-winning writers and movie columnists, for achievements in the Philippine Cinema for a calendar year. Members of the Academy, including avid viewers, fans, and enthusiasts, will cast their votes on who should win the statuettes on different categories they were nominated. Established in 1952, it is the oldest existing film industry award giving in the Philippines and one in Asia. Maria Clara Awards is the first formal film industry award-giving body of the Philippines. It was established in 1950 with a group of writers from the Manila Publishing Corps, which included national artist Dr. Alejandro Rosas, regarded as the Maria Clara Awards, an institution for recognizing talents in the Filipino movie industry.
Filipino films started to be recognized not just locally but internationally, like Ifugao of Gerardo de Leon and Anak, Dalita of Lamberto Abellano. Ifugao, set in Cordillera Mountains, this film is one of the first films to focus on the lifestyle of the Ifugao mountain tribe with authenticity. It is about their rice terraces. It was produced on 1954 and won 3 major awards at the 1955 Asian Film Festival in Singapore. Ifugao won Best Actor, Best Director, and Best Screenplay. Anak, Dalita, 1956, perhaps stand as the most prominent work of Lamberto Abellano Ubre. Anak, Dalita, which was named Best Film at the 1956 Asia Pacific Film Festival, was a realistic portrayal of poverty-stricken Filipinos coping with the aftermath of the World War II.
In 1972, President Marcos sought to contain growing unrest which the youth revolt of the 1960 fueled, claiming that all he wanted was to save republic. Marcos retooled the liberal democratic political system into an authoritarian government which concentrated power in a dictator's hands. To win the population over, mass media was enlisted in the service of the new society. Film was a key component of a society wracked with contradiction within the ruling class and between the political elite and the masses.
Directors of the new cinema were Lino Brocka, Celso Ad Castillo, and Ishmael Bernal. Lino Brocka was a Filipino film director. He is widely regarded as one of the most influential and significant Filipino filmmakers in the history of Philippine cinema. He co-founded the organization Concerned Artists of the Philippines, dedicated to helping artists address issues confronting the country, and the Free Artist Movement. He directed films such as Tinimbang Ka Ngunit Kinulang 1974, Maynila sa Mga Kuko ng Liwanag 1975. Celso Ad Castillo is ranked along with directors Lino Brocka and Ishmael Bernal for bringing about the Philippine cinema's so-called Second Golden Age. In the 70s, Celso was only 21 when he did his first film, Dangerous Mission, 1965, which signaled his independent filmmaking year. Ishmael Bernal came into film at about the same time as Lino Brocka, the other pivotal figure of the Philippine cinema's second golden age, with whom he shared a parallel creative life in an epochal period that ultimately changed the course of filmmaking in the country. Bernal's cerebral sensibility, combined with his cynical humor and critical insight, would soon become manifest in stuff of satire, the likes of which have never been seen nor heard in regular local film staple. This was most evident in the riotous sexual farce of Pito Ang Asawa Ko, 1974, equally discernible in the absurdly comic Mr. Mo, Loverboy Ko, 1974.
In the contemporary period, Philippine film revolved around a variety of subjects and themes like martyr wife, superhero, melodramas, comedies, and other more. Among all the art forms, the film has the largest audience, so that in the past, Filipino film has been considered the youngest form of art in the Philippines and a popular form of entertainment, so that many people have job because of the film. We can say that there are more audiences in film than other art forms because more people appreciate film. Because in film, you need only to watch the whole movie to know the meaning of it. While some of the art forms, you need to think hard to know the meaning of it, on what writers or the creators want to convey in their work of art. And also, some art forms is not pleasing to the audience's perspective.
Philippine films of the past and present. Philippine films from the past are more into historical themes and issues happening at that time, like Maynila sa Mga Kuko ng Liwanag, Himala, Jose Rizal, etc. While the films in the present day mostly focus on romance and modern settings, like She's Dating the Gangster, It Takes a Man and a Woman, and many more. The past films don't have that much effects. like nowadays where we use CGI. While you need to go to a cinema to watch a film, now you can easily download it from the internet to your device. Although both the past and present films are enjoyable, I still do believe that past films hold more value because it's a way of showcasing historical events. Moving on, we have the iconic artist who stars on the many films we all know and love. First one is Fernando Poe Jr., Nora Honor, Gloria Romero, Dolphy, and Vilma Santos. While the new generation of artists include Jeneline Mercado, Derek Ramsey, Vice Ganda, Sarah Geronimo, and John Lloyd Cruz.
As a reflection of our report, I want to tell you that Filipino film is the greatest of all the art forms because Filipino film is living memories of the past that we must keep, maintain, and develop. The artist and the brain of the film, which is the director and film staff, these people is the treasure of our country because they made greatest Filipino films of all time that embody Filipino tradition and culture. And also, Filipino films have different stories that we need to hear and watch as a citizen of our country because some of Filipino films have values in our life. In today's generation, Filipino film is the part of our lives and we can see it during Christmas because of the Metro Manila Film Festival. But do we just have to watch Filipino movies every Christmas? We should also watch our film if it is not Christmas because Filipino film is changing every day and the film industry never give up to give its best as possible to give their audience satisfaction. So that we should watch our own Filipino films which reflect our country and its people so that in the end we can discover the beauty of the Philippines' greatest film.